right, by now, guys, you know I love talking about old wrestling. What you might not know is it's not my real passion. My real passion is helping people save money. My real passion is getting families out of apartments and into houses. My real passion is getting people's finances aligned so they can retire on time. I hated going to Walmart and seeing the greeter being 80 years old. She should not be working. She should be home. Why is she still working? Because she still has a mortgage. I want to help avoid that for you. The other thing I want to help you with, let's make sure your kids don't get saddled with student loans. If you've got a student loan, why did you get one? Maybe because your parents still had a mortgage. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm being sincere. There's only so much money to go around. What I want to help you do is figure out where you are right now and where you want to be long term. And I do it at SaveWithConrad.com. I've been doing mortgages for more than 20 years. And during all that time, we've helped tens of thousands of families change their life. I mean, routinely, we're helping our podcast listeners save $500, $600, $700, $800 a month. But more importantly, get them out of debt faster and with cheaper monthly payments. But if you don't think it can happen for you, let me just tell you this. We are not the bank. We don't say no. We say not yet, but here's how. We're going to get you a game plan on how to improve your credit, how to save a little bit of cash, and how to get into that dream house. Maybe you're already in the house, but it would be nice if someday we could put a pool in the back, or one day we want to upgrade to hardwood floors, or remodel the kitchen, or get a badass master bathroom. I can help you do all of that with no money out of pocket right now at SaveWithConrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket. And if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. Check it out, SaveWithConrad.com, NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. And hey, y'all, don't take my word for it. Check us out. We've got an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. And as if that's not enough, go look at our reviews. Read them and weep, haters. ConradReviews.com. You'll see more than 1,000 5-star reviews. Our average review is 4.72 stars. Find out how much money you can save. Take control of your life in 2023 by taking control of your finances. We're going to show you how to keep more of your own money. If you've got credit card debt, what are you paying on that? 14%? 28%? You know you can do better. With the mortgage, though, you may not know this, the interest you pay is tax deductible. And we can even show you how to skip your next 2 house payments. So if you can get a lower monthly payment, pay your debt off faster, get a greater tax deduction at the end of the year, and right now, right after the holidays, skip your next 2 payments, buddy, this is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world. Find out how much money you can save right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com, or hey man, shoot me an email directly, Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com.
Hey guys, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley here, and I need to call a quick timeout, a brief timeout, because I wanted to tell your listeners what I have been telling Foley is Pod listeners for a while now about all the cool things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
The road to WrestleMania has begun, and in this ad-free show's exclusive, Tony and JR sit down to call the action from some of WrestleMania's biggest matches, including the end of The Undertaker's streak.
Hard-hitting war. I thought that Taker kicked out. I was wrong. And maybe that's because of my prejudice, but I wanted to see Taker win.
Yeah, I would have liked to see 22-0 as well. But this is a historic moment. It really is, in not only in WrestleMania history, but in all of pro wrestling, if you think about it.
What does everybody want? How about a sit-down exclusive with Al Snow, who discusses a wide range of topics, including his dear friend, Jim Cornette.
Jimmy knows and understands his gimmick. And he knows and understands what draws for him. And like any good worker, Jimmy's going to capitalize on it, you know. And a lot of what you see is not Jim Cornette. It's an aspect of Jim Cornette. And it's just an aspect that Jimmy's turned the volume up on, apparently, as the years went on, a lot, you know.
Ad-free show members recently sat shotgun alongside Kevin Nash for a live watch-along of his WWE Championship match against Shawn Michaels at In Your House 7. Catch the event now on demand.
Bullet. A year of brutal matches
was too much for the big man.
Too much for the big man's shoulders as he continually reached those shoulders into his pockets and came out empty from the amount of money that was paid him.
That's just a small taste, a sampling, if you will, of what we have waiting for you. With 4 levels to choose from. 4. See for yourself why ad-free shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now, right now, at adfreeshows.com. Yeah.
Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett, First Arcade, 605 NWA, TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede, Flair and Horseman, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum, Dusty, Express Tag Team, Turner, Barton, Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotion.
Tony and Friends North, they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off, center stage, Bischoff, Disney, Hogan, and Nitro, New World Order, and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette, Champ, Vinnie, Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lois rules, cat back. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chant. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when? WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and as you hear, Tony Schiavone is with us. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Conrad. I do want to say, first of all, kudos to Dave Silva for, if you're watching on YouTube, for that open. That was very, very well done.
It's a fun open. It's a fun show, man, and,
Yeah.
and it sounds like Kevin Sullivan's having some fun at your house right now.
Yeah, got 2 of them now that have bark. When we first got Kirby, I think I mentioned this before, but we first got Kirby, the foster parent brought Kirby in and says, I don't think she barks. I haven't heard her bark. I'm thinking, okay, well, thanks to Chewy, she has learned how to bark. So now when dogs walk in front of the house, not only does Kirby bark, or Chewy bark, but Kirby goes crazy. So we have 2 dogs barking now a lot. Every time a dog walks in front of the house, those 2 dogs go out of their freaking mind.
So what's the other dog's name? I know Kirby.
And Chewy. Chewy's that one, remember, that you came to the house and you said,
oh, yeah. Okay. So
what's wrong with this dog?
Well, I felt like it was on his last legs. I'll be honest. I can't believe he outlasted Dooley.
Yeah, isn't it something?
But we got Chewy, and we got Bug, and we got Kirby. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Now, are we going to get any more, you think?
I'd love to get another dog.
I feel like your wife is to foster dogs as Tony Khan is to free agents in wrestling. She's trying to collect them all. We're just going to stockpile dogs.
Yeah.
One of these dogs is going to sit home and say they're not happy with their creative.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if your dogs were protesting? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I would tell my dogs to sit home.
The things you can't say at work. Yes, you would say that.
Yeah. Wow. There we go again. There's Chewy.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, we should name these barkers. We should name them the problem children in wrestling. I won't say their names, but we can insert names there.
Yeah, boy.
You know, use your imagination. And we don't have to use our imagination today, though, Tony. We're watching something. You want to talk about old school? Does it get any more old school than 1988?
Hey, Lois.
I think he's asking for his release.
Hang on. Going to give it to him immediately. Give it to me. You got it. See ya.
Want to give a shout out to everybody.
Go work at Warriors of Wrestling in Staten Island. Leave me the fuck alone. Hold on. Hey, shut the fuck up.
Who let the dogs out? Who? Somebody needs to.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to.
Okay.
I like this, man. We're gonna have like a soundtrack for our show today.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little appearance by Lois Schiavone here too.
You see, I don't think we need to see Lois. What we need to see is the dog catcher. Oh yeah, here we go. This is good stuff.
Hello?
Hey, good morning. I'm on the podcast live, and you are too now. Would you shut would you shut the door and shut those fucking dogs up?
There's no way I can shut them up.
Well, yeah, you can put the gate up so they don't stand in front of the door.
All right, you guys, come on. You need to go upstairs and bark at Daddy.
Jesus Christ.
That'd be great.
That's what she said. And she said, okay, let's go. Let's go. All right, outside. All right. Are you happy now?
I sure am, honey. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Anything for you.
Okay, kiss my ass. Bye.
Yeah, fuck you.
And
boy, we can just roll the credits right now. if you're not sure if you're ready for marriage, I want you to just rewind and listen to that. That's what 58 years of marital bliss sounds like, boys and girls. That was awesome, man. We got to get the dogs involved more often. I mean, I think that's a real high spot of the show at this point.
It's really great.
I can tell you're thrilled, and I know you're thrilled to be watching old wrestling from 1988. We want you to watch along with us, so get your Peacock out. World Championship Wrestling Season 4, Episode 6 is where we're going. It's February 6, 1988. That's Season 4, Episode 6, February 6, 1988. As a reminder, we're on the heels of some pretty big stuff happening here. Of course, Crockett is now expanding as fast as they can. They've ran a lot of, larger arenas than maybe they should have. Haven't been maybe as profitable as they should have. At this point, we got 2 planes. Maybe the spending is out of control here, but we're also trying to compete with Vince McMahon. On the heels of WrestleMania 3, we're playing catch-up ball as much as we can, including Crockett going out and picking up the Watts territory. And maybe he was sold a bill of goods there. Maybe he wasn't. I guess it depends on who you ask. But the gist is we have invested a lot of cash, and now Crockett and Dusty themselves have moved to Texas. And a lot of people believe that's the beginning of the end. Other people would point to, as you will have on this show many times, when Vince McMahon sabotaged Starrcade at the end of 1987. So what does Crockett do? He says, well, let's compete. Let's keep this pay-per-view thing going, and let's run one in Vince's backyard. So we did that in January of 1988, the Bunkhouse Stampede. And once again, Vince McMahon counter-programmed it after he created Survivor Series to compete with Starrcade. Now he's going to create a little program called the Royal Rumble. It was created to sabotage Bunkhouse Stampede, and it worked. And business has been slipping ever since. And we're just a few weeks removed from that. And this, of course, is going to be, unfortunately, the last year of Jim Crockett Promotions. I mean, 10 months later, you guys are out of business, sold to Turner. Could you tell, did you know in early February of 88, hey man, the train's off the tracks? Did you know yet or not quite yet?
I knew we were in trouble. I could tell that things were not going well, but I don't think I knew I was that close to the business to know what was going on. I'm obviously a lot closer to what's going on in the business now with my job, but I wasn't back then. I was just kind of an announcer, just kind of starting the business. I mean, there was always a lot of positive talk during TV from Dusty and Jimmy. But I knew that David and Francis and Jackie, the other Crockett's, were very unhappy about the way things were going. So,
okay. Let's talk about that. How did you know they were unhappy about the way things were going?
Because they were really pissed off that Jimmy had moved to Dallas.
Mm.
And I don't know who said this. It may have been one of them, or it may have been like, I was very good friends with Gene Anderson and Sandy Scott back then. I worked in the office with them in the Charlotte office. And one of them may have said this, or maybe one of the Crockett said this, but somebody said that Mr. Crockett, and when we said Mr. Crockett, we were talking about the father. Jim Crockett.
Jim Sr.
Right, Jim Sr. Mr. Crockett spent a lifetime building up goodwill in Charlotte with the banks and the people in Charlotte. And now Jimmy has walked away from that and moved to Dallas and forgot his roots. I'm not getting the wording exactly, but I know that I'm right that they said that, the exact wording. So I knew that things weren't well. I don't know. And there was a thought that Dusty had engineered all this.
Wow. Okay.
That Dusty had not necessarily engineered the sale, but maybe he did. Maybe he had something to do with it, but engineered the move to Texas. Dusty got to move to Texas, where he was from, without having to pay for it himself. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I mean, think about this. He worked for Jim Crockett Promotions. He was on top. He was a great booker. He was making a lot of money. And now he could move back to Texas.
Right.
And not have to foot the bill to do that. You know, the company would pick up the move, so there was a lot of resentment towards Dusty from the Crockett family at that time.
I really felt like the Dusty resentment, by and large, was just sour grapes from other wrestlers. You know, because listen, we often hear JR talk about on his podcast, Grilling JR, that drops every Thursday. He'd say things like, "Hey, Connie, it always comes down to the 2 C's, cash and creative."
Uh-huh.
So if their payoffs were down, well, that's a Crockett thing. And if they don't like their creative, that's a Dusty thing. And when things were good, as they have been here in JCP for 3 or 4 years at this point, not a lot of people are complaining about their payoffs, but we were pretty often hearing critiques about the creative because Dusty was sort of wearing both hats as being a performer and the quote unquote booker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying all that to say, this is maybe one of the first times you and I have talked about the fact that the rest of the Crockett family, besides Jimmy, were not feeling Dusty.
I think there was a thought, there was a feeling that that Jimmy chose Dusty Rhodes over his family.
Wow.
There wasn't any word that I didn't really. David never came up to me or Jackie or Francis and said that.
Right.
Well, you could feel that.
There was tension.
There was tension, yeah. And so when he moved to Dallas, he did. And of course Jimmy lived in Dallas for a long, long time. I guess they eventually moved to South Carolina.
That's right.
Near the end of his life, to be with these grandchildren. You talked to Jimmy right before he died, and I went to his memorial, and he was a very good grandfather. But you know, as life moves on, you get older and things, your life changes. But back in that time, he just moved to Dallas. And why would he move to Dallas? Well, number one, I guess he bought this elaborate office. It was part of the deal, right? That he now had to pay rent. He had to pay rent for. So I guess he needed to keep that office open.
As part of the Watts deal.
As part of the Watts deal.
Yeah.
But why would he move away?
Right.
He could have. I don't know in the interview or if you talking to him, if he could have wanted everybody to move to Dallas.
I don't, boy, I'm not trying to spread a rumor here.
Right.
And I think, I've become pretty good friends with David. And,
right.
And so I would like to think that I'm a friend of the Crockett family, especially after the show last year.
Of course. Yeah, I am too. Right.
When we had our chance to sit down with Jimmy, he was pretty honest about saying that, one of the reasons he moved is he had started drinking too much. And, he didn't just come out and say this, but the thing that a lot of people say in recovery when they finally recognize that they have a problem is they use the phrase, "My life had become unmanageable."
Mm-hmm.
And I got the vibe that there was more at play than maybe just alcohol. And he had a wife, mm-hmm. and he was trying to keep that marriage together, was the mm-hmm. way it was phrased. Mm-hmm. So it almost made it sound like to me, perhaps he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, so to speak.
Okay.
And so it's a deal where if the business is struggling financially and it is,
yeah,
and you feel all this mounting pressure, you're probably going to drink a little too much. If you're already a drinker, maybe you drink a little too much. So check that's happening. But another reason I could think logically that would make sense to say, all right, we'll move, is not necessarily because he wanted to go to Texas and he wanted to hang out with Dusty. And I could see how the rest of the family saw that. But I almost reading between the lines felt like maybe he had a lapse in judgment and there was a little infidelity and he's trying to keep the marriage together. And part of the way to fix that is it'll never happen again. You know why? We're moving all the way over there. That will not be an issue because she or they or whatever is here and we're going to Texas because I want to save this marriage. I kind of got that vibe, but it felt out of place to ask an older fellow that I'm just meeting really for the third time. So does that mean you were cheating on your wife on camera?
Right.
But it does feel as if, because listen, I don't think it's a secret. Back then, boys will be boys in the wrestling business, and they were rock stars and had access to fun stuff that normal folks don't. And that temptation for a guy who's batting 1,000 was probably hard. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe that maybe had something to do with it.
That could have, but another factor is that now he and Dusty are in Dallas, and we're still taping at Turner, right?
Yeah.
And we're still doing a lot of our stuff on the East Coast. We're moving a little bit further west with house shows. Jimmy and Dusty always came to TV. So now the road trips for them are longer.
Well, and really more importantly than that, the bills are mounting because it's not like they're getting in a Toyota and driving. They're jumping on the PJ.
Yeah.
And those private jet costs now just went through the roof because Charlotte to Atlanta is not nearly what Dallas to Charlotte is.
Yeah. Yeah, but listen, it was a mess back then. It really was. I didn't really know when the end was near, but I knew things were bad.
Well, let's jump into it, man. Without further ado, I want you guys to fire up Peacock season 4, episode 6. There's lots of speculation that Tony and I were doing about who, what, when, where, why. Let's talk about what we really saw here on February 6, 1988, season 4, episode 6 of World Championship Wrestling on Peacock. Tony, last week we got chastised by old DJ Turnip. I prefer DJ Turnip as opposed to Turn Up. Anyway, DJ Turnip supposedly sent us several countdowns. Do we have one of those new countdowns today, or what are we rocking today?
Yeah, we got a new countdown. As a matter of fact, oddly enough, we were talking about dogs. Here's our countdown from DJ Turnup.
DJ Turnup!
I had to move my dog.
I feel like you're the dead one.
That one's been cremated. No, I had to move Bug. He was.
Bug's a good for nothing sack of shit.
Hey, don't you talk about my fucking dog, you motherfucker.
Why'd you laugh when I said it? Here's what I know about Bug.
Don't you dare.
He eats a lot. He sleeps a lot. He don't do nothing around the house. Actually, what he does do is not good. He's just shitting and pissing and wasting resources. Ain't got no job. Only difference between him and Lois is Facebook. Sorry, Lois.
It's the bench press contest.
We saw Animal there throwing up 245s.
So one more set of warm-ups, and then then he'll get the call for the weight, and that's what we're gonna do.
This was done in Greensboro, North Carolina, by the way. I remember that.
All right, so that's just the warm-ups. I was like, why are we showing the guys benching 135 pounds? I think my wife does that. But here we are, and it's a special edition of World Championship Wrestling. Let's hear you guys welcome us in here on a special Saturday edition. Here we go.
No Wrestling Alliance.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to World Championship Wrestling. Tony Schiavone, David Crockett, and Jim Ross. Ringside with the NWA, the Major League of Professional Wrestling. And as you saw at the top of the program, they had the weightlifting contest, the bench press contest in Greensboro, like we talk about. And after all the wagers and all the talkings, I really don't think anything was proven, but There was a very serious injury.
Very serious and tragic situation that we're going to see it in length a little bit later in the hour. We're also going to hear from the involved parties, including Paul Jones and the Road Warriors. David, in this hour, we're going to see the hottest team in wrestling, Lex Luger and Barry Windham in action, plus Jim Cornette's Midnight Express. Sting's going to be here and a lot more.
That's right. You're going to have Ric Flair, the World Heavyweight Champion, the Horseman, J.J. Dillon, a lot of people, Rick Steiner. Right? And what about when he got the belt, right, from Mike Rotunda?
Rick Steiner's been presented a gift, the Florida Heavyweight Championship, and Kevin Sullivan and his varsity club, and he being the, what's he call himself, the Games Master?
Games Master.
It's quite a situation here. We're going to be talking about that. A lot of big events coming to Philadelphia, to Atlanta, and a lot of great action. And we're going to kick it all off right here, gentlemen, with the new Western States Heritage Champion, Mr. Larry Zbyszko, and, of course, he has Baby Doll in this corner.
Let's go. Okay, it's Larry Zbyszko.
So, hey, man, we got Larry Zbyszko here on the heels of beating Barry Windham at the Bunkhouse Stampede. And it's still a little odd for me to see and hear Jim Ross here. I mean, I love Jim Ross, the voice of wrestling, blah, blah, blah. But this has been so long, just you and David. Was it difficult to get used to a quote-unquote three-man booth here?
I think in a way it was, although I felt very comfortable working with Jim. I think it was much easier for me than it was David.
Okay.
It got to a point that only Jim and I did the commentary and David just did the interviews. And I think that was very uncomfortable for him. But I think if you notice, David not always had, but he had there that he's going to cause some shit grin on his face.
Yes.
Yeah, he just had that. I wouldn't call it an evil grin, but it was I don't know, it was a trouble grin that he was causing trouble. I don't know. So, yeah, I think it was
smile.
Right. I think it was tougher for him.
Why do you think that is? Just because Jim was such a professional and David was more deferential, or how does it become two more prominent voices than the other?
Because that's what Dusty and Jimmy wanted.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't necessarily just the flow of the conversation. It was an edict of sorts.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a low-key pissing contest back then between Jimmy and David?
No, not that I was aware of, no.
Okay.
But David was the one sibling of Jimmy's that was more involved in the business than the rest of them.
Right.
Francis ran the baseball team, and Jackie ran a camera, basically. So, Jackie obviously, had a lot of issues and was, listen, Jackie Crockett was a hell of a lot of fun, buddy. Everybody.
What do you mean he had a lot of issues? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, like I think he had drinking problems.
Okay.
And he had been maybe in trouble as far as paying bills or whatever. He was just, how do you, God, well, that's a shitty knee.
Struggling.
Yeah.
He was struggling.
But he was a free spirit. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay. I love that now.
Yeah, he was a free spirit. I had so much fun with Jackie. God, he made me laugh a lot. And I traveled with him some too. During the Great American Bash, when we would go to the big stadium shows like Cincinnati and Philadelphia and all that, Jackie and I traveled together a lot. I traveled with so many different people throughout the years. And now I'm traveling with Jeff Jones.
Oh God, it's all downhill.
All downhill. Yeah.
That's a real shame.
Yeah. Jeff and I are going to be very soon flying into San Antonio to work Laredo. All right, what's Zbyszko doing here?
Larry Zbyszko, this is not, I don't think, an intimidation move, Jim Ross. I think Barry Windham, a student of the sport, as we know, one of the top stars, he wants to study Larry Zbyszko.
Well,
so there you see Barry Windham wandering onto the set, just wanting to watch Larry Zbyszko's match. I like that. We didn't see a ton of that, but
no,
that's pretty cool when we do see it.
A couple of things as he's pointing, I'm thinking, why in the world don't we take a picture of what he's pointing at, take a shot of what he's pointing at? But because we didn't, I guess it didn't look set up, right? It looked real.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So.
Well said, Tony.
Yeah, it looks like it looks real.
Hey, as we're just talking here, as we see an abdominal stretch by Larry Zbyszko, last week when we recorded the show, I sort of broke the news to you because you at that time had not seen it yet, that Cody won the Royal Rumble. Did you get a chance to watch the Rumble?
Yeah, I watched the end of the Rumble. I watched the angle that you talked about, and I watched Logan Paul and Ricochet collide.
What'd you think?
I thought it was one of the more spectacular moves I'd seen in many moons.
It was pretty fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You know, that move took a hell of a lot of timing. It was really good. The angle.
Yes.
I liked it.
But
okay, here we go. Let's listen to Zbyszko.
You really want to hear Larry Zbyszko? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
How does it feel to stand behind a woman that she helped you in? She's the one that gave you that title.
Look at, I made it clear before. Everybody knows my reputation. Everybody knows my ability. The only thing I had missing was all the intricate secrets. And this is what Baby Doll supplied. Okay? I'm the gun. She's the ammunition. And we already proved it, Dave. You see this? This was Barry Windham. Barry Windham, want to hear a joke? Real funny story. Barry Windham wants a chance to win this back. Okay? He's stupider than I thought. Don't waste my time, Windham. I'm going after step number 2. And it's Dusty Rhodes. The American dream. You know what? I thought about that, and guess what? He's right. He is the American dream. All these spudheads want to grow up to be some kind of bull in some kind of woods. The sad part is, Rose, this is reality. And I'm going to ram it down your throat as Baby Doll and myself climb up that stairway to heaven. You can't stop me.
That's right. Nothing can stop me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from Larry Zbyszko, the Western States Heritage Champion. Coming up next, you'll see Sting right after this.
So we got Sting on the other side of the break. Shout out to Baby Doll. She was looking pretty roll tide.
Yes, she was. Yeah, she looked good.
Anyway, what were you thinking about the post-match Rumble angle with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn?
I thought it went too long.
Yeah, it was a little long.
Yeah.
It was good, though.
Yeah, it was very well done. Very well done. Good drama. When one of the Usos walks away.
Yes.
Yeah, just very, very good drama.
And how about Sting coming out here? Totally different hairstyle, totally different paint. He's got the rat tail, no wrist tape, minimal paint, as we said, and a different design. But the rat tail, man, just gets all over me.
Yeah. And he came out the other side. He came out the left side. A lot of guys come out the right side. To come out the left side of the studio, he had to go behind us at the set because everything was to our right, was to the right. As you look, everything was to the right of the screen. There's nothing but a wall to the left. He had to come behind us and come out that side. So
he climbs in the ring and high fives fans on the outside of the ring. I don't think I've seen anybody do that from inside the ring on this program before.
No, me neither. That's a good observation. I never saw that either, but
he's pretty jacked here. What kind of cycles do you think he's on?
I don't know.
How would you describe the rat tail look? I mean, I know that nobody would do that now. Maybe Joey Janela would do that in 2023, but probably nobody else. Maybe George South. But the rat tail, did you have a rat tail?
I did not. However, if I were in my 40s right now or in my 30s, 40s, I think I would consider one.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we should try to guilt Dave Silva into growing a rat tail.
Let's
Dave
do it.
Silva's hair quit growing on the top of his head.
Did it
maybe
really?
we could get it to grow down the back.
Dave, have you ever heard of Propecia?
No, he doesn't know how to spell that. He's ESL's a motherfucker.
All right. Also, you can go get hair plugs. As a matter of fact, you can go to Turkey, the country Turkey, and they're probably the best at hair plugs, hair transplants, weaves.
He'd never do that. He'd go to Ham. He's a ham guy.
Ham guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just to let you know, we'll be going to El Paso and Laredo the next couple of weeks. So that's kind of Dave Silva country.
AEWTIX.com. Raphael Morphy, Jeff Jarrett, and Tony Schiavone would greatly appreciate if you would consider coming to the show. That is the worst sharpshooter I have ever seen. Boy, you want to talk about the worst sharpshooter you ever saw. Please go out of your way to watch it. Now, of course, we know the Scorpion Deathlock is going to become a signature move for him, but he's still clearly figuring it out here on February 6, 1988. My goodness.
Yeah.
You want to call this?
Yeah. Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen, taking flight. It's Sting! Connects. And the sharpshooter is, look at that guy sell. Boom. Face first. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Scorpion Deathlock. And this is exactly what Conrad said. He got the, okay, and he didn't even really get the legs crossed. No. Because, kid, you got to relax when it's being put on you.
Yeah, it's like you always tell Lois, just let it happen.
Happen when you get hold of Ric Flair. Well, let's not talk about that right now. Let's talk about what you can call me. You can call me Sting. You can call me Stinger. You can call me the guy from Every Man's Nightmare. But biggest of all, you can call me the Party Crasher. Know what I mean, Nature Boy? I guess I kind of embarrass you by showing up unexpected. But you see, you don't do that kind of garbage when I'm in the ring trying to do my business. So Nature Boy, the Beastie Boy, is going to continue crashing parties or whatever I got to crash to get to you. So beware, bud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, The Rock, Ole Anderson's coming up next.
Hey, that was fun. By the way, we want to remind everybody, right around the corner is a little special called Clash of the Champions.
Right.
We haven't announced it yet, but it's going to be Sting and Ric Flair there. So we're certainly planting the seeds. Let's hear David now.
Oh, it's going to be good.
The Minnesota Wrecking Crew, The Rock, Ole Anderson. Welcome. Sometimes when you say that, David, it makes me wonder how much the guy does know, and I'm kind of embarrassed because certainly I must have taught him more than that. But I'll tell you right now, a lot of people saw me here a week or so ago, and they said, it's good to see you back in the ring. We're glad to have you come back. But I'll tell you, you don't know how good it is for me to be back. A long time I waited. And when you see a guy like Tully all bloated up like a big frog, and that guy Arn, my bosom buddy, my brethren, my, brother, I tell you, it makes me want to just upchuck someplace. I've waited for a long time. And like I said before, the thing that's so amazing to me is how James J. Dillon could have made such a big mistake by kicking a big guy like Lex Luger out of the Four Horsemen. When you did that, Dillon, you just about signed your death warrant. Because when I saw it, I knew there was a chance. By myself, no, I knew I couldn't do it. I'm not that stupid. When I saw Lex Luger hanging out there, I said, now is the time. And the time is coming. It won't be very long. Valentine's Day, it's going to be a big heart for the Anderson, and it's going to be a big heart for Luger. You know, people want to know, how do you stay calm in a situation like that? Well, I don't always stay calm. When I get mad, you're going to see it. And people know what kind of a wrestler I am. They know about the Andersons. They know about the Wrecking Crew. We don't have to yell, and we don't have to holler. We don't have to scream. We do one thing better than anybody else, and we wrestle. In this case, in that cage match, we're going to make an exception and throw wrestling out. Cage match, you remember it, Tully, and you remember, Arn. All that steel that's up there, no place to go. You can't run, you can't hide. Me and Luger in there, and with that big kid and my experience, I don't think you're going to have much choice except to bleed like a stuck hog and look like pieces of hamburger when we get done with you. And when we finally do get done with you, I want you to know I'm going to have a little surprise. And that surprise is going to be that snot-nosed kid. I'm going to bring him down there ringside. And when the whole thing is over and you guys are laid out, I might just send him in the ring and clean up a little bit and see what you can do with that snot-nosed boy. Get ready. We're coming to the Omni.
All right. So that was a great promo. You want to talk about a callback. When the whole Ole Horseman split happened, they referred to his son, who he was taking time off to go support his son.
Right.
They called him a snot-nosed kid. And for him to use that all these months later, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, Ole was the best, man. And that he really was. His promos were serious. His promos were just, you believed him. You really did. Yeah. He said it again, I've brought up many times. Vintage Ole Anderson is I go to the arenas and I hear these guys talk. If you're a truck driver, if you're a farmer, you think you're tough, why don't you come step in the ring with me?
Yeah.
He always would say that, and eventually one of them did. And didn't step in the ring, but did cut him back in Greenville, South Carolina. And but he always challenged everybody, so he made it sound real. Think about him a lot, I really do, because he was one of the more instrumental guys in my career. And his I don't know if I can go see him now or not. I know during COVID I couldn't go see him, but now that things are kind of loosening up, I should call Marcia and see if I could go see him. Of course, last time I tried to see Ole, I called Peggy Latham. You know, she's no longer with us either. So
yeah,
that breaks my heart. Time marches on. So I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask, how would you describe what we're watching right now?
We are watching a very talented but no personality Tim Horner against a
Teletubby.
Very well said.
I mean, I'm just saying, if Dave Silva were a wrestler,
yeah,
this guy, this Teletubby character,
yeah.
I mean, I know he's Gladiator #1,
right?
Whatever happened to Gladiator #2? Did he go on? Didn't he have a long run at Applebee's?
No, that wasn't the same guy, but I believe this Gladiator #1. I'm thinking this is Gary Royal. I'm not sure. Gary Royal was a smaller guy. And Gary Royal was the guy, the gladiator that took the pin for the Mulkeys. This may be Gary, but Gary could work better than this. I'm not so sure. One of them was Gary Royal. I can't remember who the other one was. But this guy's really pretty bad. You ever notice? Did you notice how we've kind of changed up now a little bit? We're doing more interviews with the ring as the backdrop.
You're exactly right. It is Gary Royal. I've confirmed that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did notice that. I like the gray square set though.
Oh, I do too.
I like it. I fucking recreated it last year. By the way, I got one in storage. If you are feeling froggy and need to cut some promos, make it feel like old country over there.
Do I have to come pick it up? Or are you going to ship it to me? Or are you going to drive it over here yourself?
I figure I would just whenever Lois Schiavone gets married the second time, I'll just bring it over.
She's not going to get married the second time.
No, who would be stupid enough to make that mistake twice? You know what I mean? By the way, I want to point out this this show we're watching here aired on February 6th, but it was not taped that morning like we saw a lot of times. This was actually taped on the 3rd, which was a Wednesday, Tony. So you taped this program on a freaking Wednesday.
Wow. You know, I don't even remember that. I thought we always did Saturdays at the studios.
This was a Wednesday, according to my calendar from 1988. I guess you guys ran a show that same day in Laurinburg, South Carolina at St. Andrew's Gym. You also ran one down in Jacksonville, Florida. But you did this taping at some point that day. On the 4th, we were in Chattanooga, Knoxville, and on the 5th, we were in Marion. On the 6th, we were in Charlotte, and you clearly just had something come to.
Yeah. Here's what I remember now. We did a taping I think we did a couple tapings during the night, during this era. This may have been the time when JR and I would do the main event show on Sunday night.
Right.
And I never will forget it. And you may want to try to bring up Jim's memory with this as well. Jim and I, after everybody cleared out, would go to the studio. They would reset the studio, and we would do the leads for the main event. They were so incapable and so disorganized that we would start to do our leads, and something would go wrong. And Tommy Edwards would say, guys, we got to get this squared away. You guys go get something to eat. And we would go to Jocks and Jill's, the original one, which was not too far from Techwood, not the one that eventually was at the CNN Center. Went to Jocks and Jill's. I remember sitting there eating wings at Jocks and Jill's, waiting to go back. And we just sat there for hours waiting to go back because they couldn't get their shit together at the studio to be able to tape leads. It was horrible. Those were long nights just to be able to put one show together.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know chicken wings existed in 1988.
Yeah, they did.
I know that chicken wings exist. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, it felt like that popped off in the 90s.
Yeah, you're right. But Jocks and Jill's had them, and was right there on. Gosh, where was Jocks and Jill's? It wasn't on Techwood, but it was really close. I guess we got another interview coming up here now. Whoop.
The scene was the Greensboro Coliseum, a capacity crowd on hand, and we had been talking about it for weeks, the bench press contest between the Road Warriors. And the wager, of course, on the other side with Paul Jones and his men, $50,000 in a bag. And I was right there at ringside when it happened. It was really a big event.
Well, it was long awaited. We talked about it a long time. The Greensboro Coliseum was a capacity crowd was there to see this situation. But what happened was a very shocking situation indeed. Let's join now the bench press contest in progress, and then we're going to come back with a few more comments.
470 pounds to the Road Warriors.
25, 475.
475.
25 pounds, 475 pounds.
Okay,
I was fixing to say, if they think 2 plates on each side is 475, these motherfuckers need to go back and do some arithmetic. They got a few more plates on there now, but buddy, that's not 475.
And as you can see, the fans are just on the edge of their seat.
Yeah.
Just all this for a fucking angle, you know?
Yeah.
If you think about it, I mean, there's some fans cheering when we make to me, it reminds me of the most boring fucking sport in the world is golf.
Really?
By far, end of story.
I would agree with that.
Okay, and I want to tell you how boring it is. When they do like a promo for it on TV.
Yeah.
Okay. What do they show? Only thing they show is guys going, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the excitement of golf. Yeah, fuck that. Okay. And so here that's all they do.
So if Silva doesn't chop that up and put it on social, there's no justice.
Okay.
Yeah. The excitement to go, fuck off.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, the PGA Championship, the world's greatest golfers. You'll see the excitement. Yeah. That's all you fucking see. Guys cheering their own fucking shots. So now the fans here are cheering an announcement. 475 pounds. Yeah. Oh, God. All right, let's track this, see what the fuck we're doing here.
Less than 500 pounds. What? 500 pounds? Yeah, 500 pounds. Go ahead.
Well, Jones, I've been a gambler all my life, and if anything that I've ever learned is that desperate money never wins. You're a desperate man, Paul Jones. Let's go to 600 pounds and quit wasting all these people's time. That's what they want. They want 600 pounds. Let's make it a legitimate 600 pounds right now. I'll tell you something, Henry. This is my bench press contest, and that's my money in that bag over there. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm running this, and I want 500 pounds. And the best thing for you to do is go over there and pray for your guys.
Load it up. Fans are into this now.
By the way, the Road Warriors are the heels. I mean, Paul Ellering just slapped poor Paul Jones, and Paul Jones did nothing. He was sitting there with his little pen and paper. He got slapped for no damn reason.
Yeah, fuck that.
Oh, Road Warriors, Road Warrioring up here. Let's see what happens. All the powder in the Hawk's eyes.
That kick was pretty stiff.
Big kick from the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Well, the Barbarian and Warlord, they're kicking their ass right now.
Yeah.
This is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Oh,
watch out.
It's going to
Holy
kill
shit.
fans. Somebody better stop it. It's going to kill a fan.
Look at me. Look at Tony Schiavone stopping, huh?
That wasn't Tony Schiavone. You're saying
that was the other fat guy, Doug Dellinger.
He's like 2 feet taller than you. Listen to this. All right, listen. It's easy for us to poke fun at this, how stupid it is. But did you hear that crowd?
Yeah,
they were into this, man.
There's a group on the left, including what's his name, Hitchcock, right? Over there cheering the heels. How about that? With the hat on and the white.
Look at the man. You see that splatter all over Hawk? That looks like you after. Oh my gosh, little blade job.
Warriors here on TV, and sometimes you think they're so big and powerful that they are invincible, but that shot right there around the ring proved that something like that can really take its toll on someone.
I think at this point in time, we need to give a health report, a progress report on an animal. When his head was rammed into the weights. Now remember, there's 600 pounds in the weights. You saw the weights go rolling away. That was from the impetus of his head hitting on the weights. It cracked the eye orbit around the bone structure around his eye that contains the eye. It cracked it. He's got some optic nerve damage, and the eye was driven back in his head 1/4 of an inch. He was hospitalized in Greensboro. He's also seen a specialist regarding his eye, but he has had some severe injury there from the blow after he hit the weights. And we saw what happened. The weight, 600 pounds, when his face hit them, it knocked him over. So you can imagine the impact. In a few more moments, we're going to come back. We're going to see some more tape of this situation, and we're going to talk to the people involved and really responsible, Paul Jones. But right now, let's take this time out.
What'd you think of that segment?
I kind of liked it. I love JR's health report. Didn't you? That was
He did a great job.
He did a great job with that, man. He made up some shit and went with it. That was great.
In this situation, because panic really set in right after that occurred. We're going to take a look further at what happened, Jim Ross.
Well, when you think about 600 pounds on the bench, a man's face being driven into it, knocking the weight 600 pounds off of it, and they went rolling almost to the crowd, and we had security officers had to stop it, cracking the bone around his face, causing the optic nerve damage, a serious injury resulting not only in hospitalization but also surgery. You find the Road Warriors in a position that they have never been in their career.
That's right.
You also find Paul Jones on a tremendous emotional high. Before we hear from Paul Jones, and he'll be out here in a few moments with his massive team, let's look at what happened right after the bench press challenge. And as you said, Tony, so adeptly, a situation that the Road Warriors had never been in before in their career. Let's see it now.
Hey, wow. So we got emergency personnel here loading up Animal. You see Hawk trying to help him do it. They're putting him on a gurney.
Yeah.
And I like when you guys do an injury angle like this. It adds an air of realism to the show.
Unfortunately, the Italian Stallion's got his dumb ass in there as well. But, yeah, it does add realism to the show. And there's Jackie Crockett with the camera in the background there. And there's Doug Dellinger as well.
Doug made a good move growing the facial hair.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's ugly as shit, isn't he?
Well, I'm not going to say all that.
Well, I can because I knew him. Ugly.
How much fun did he have this past July?
Oh, wow. It was so good seeing Doug.
It was.
Yeah. I brought this up. I'm going to bring it up again for everybody listening, and especially those who are enjoying us live. Doug Dellinger was so stressed out during Flair's final match of all the
people backstage.
All the people backstage. I kept saying, Doug, just settle down, man. It'll be all right. Just settle down.
Everything's cool.
Everything's cool. But then all of a sudden it hit me. I need to really fuck with him on this.
Yes.
So every time I'd go by him, I said, Doug, man, there are more people back here than I've ever seen in my life. We need to do something, get these people out. I know we do. It was so good. It was so good seeing the Doug Dillinger from the 80s, right? Trying to navigate 2020. It was really, really good. It was a lot of fun seeing him. That was.
How about this scene, man? You're wheeling him right past the fans.
Yeah,
I like that.
Me too. I'm really, yeah.
Well done. Right by him, I mean.
Right. Good stuff.
Let's listen to a minute of it. So there's no commentary. You guys are just laying out and letting the moment breathe. It feels significant when you do that.
I know.
Oh, wow. We had a camera on the other side waiting on him to come through. This is awesome. What building is that, Tony?
That's Greensboro Coliseum. That's the big door, the ramp, the big door that went out to the parking lot there in the back.
Oh, and look who it is.
Cool.
I know you're proud of yourself, aren't you? Let me tell you something, David. Watching Animal walk off, roll off in a stretcher reminds me of one thing. From now on, when you see these two giants, their name is going to be Powers of Pain, because that's exactly what they do. And if you don't believe it, you watch Animal roll off on a stretcher again. You know something? Let me tell you something. My men won the bench press fair and square. I've got the money. And Road Warriors, let me tell you something. If you think that you are still stronger than the world's strongest wrestlers right here, then you come after the money. I've got a tremendous idea. Let's put the money on a ladder high above the ring, and the strongest and the baddest and the meanest wrestler can crawl up the ladder. I just thought of something very, very funny. Hawk may be able to get up the ladder if he can destroy these two men, but Animal, I think he's going to have a hard time, right, Ivan? Well, that's it. If you want the money, let's see if you can get to the top of the ladder. Now, let me tell you this. We're riding on a high, David. The world's strongest wrestlers. I want to say one thing about Philadelphia, six-man tag, world six-man tag. The titles are up. Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors. But, brother, I'm telling you, people in Philadelphia right now, that the Barbarian and the Warlord, Powers of Pain, are going to win that trophy. Six-man tag. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it, because, brother, let me tell you something. The Road Warriors have finally met someone that can physically manhandle them anywhere, any place, anytime. Now, let me tell you something. Never before in the history of the Road Warriors has anybody manhandled them physically. And Road Warriors, you don't know how to handle it. Well, have you people seen that tape of them laying out in Greensboro? It looked like somebody threw a hand grenade, and all of a sudden, all over everywhere, all you saw was Road Warriors and Paul Ellery. That has to be the most embarrassing time of your life. And Ivan, I want to personally thank you for getting my men in shape and getting them mentally prepared to be the world's strongest wrestlers.
Comrade Paul Jones, it is my pleasure. I want to thank you also and congratulate you, Comrade, on your brilliant plan. You know, it worked better than I thought it would. You see that big animal attempting to lift 600 pounds, falling over, injuring himself. And you see this Road Warrior Hawk. He was so nervous, sweating so bad. By the time the contest was over, he had chalk all over his body.
I sure did. Losers! Losers! That's all they are, is losers!
I don't know why, but Paul Jones promo has always cracked me up. Look at this different camera shot we're seeing here.
Yeah, we're
over the corner there. Dick Murdoch climbing into the ring. Jim Cornette is going to be his second here. Talk about a jump cut. I wonder what they cut out of the original feed there, because there's no way it looked like that originally.
No, you're I've got a question.
Let's hear it.
Was the money high above the ring on a ladder. Was this the first mentioned advent of a ladder match on national TV?
Yeah, it might have been.
I mean, this was it.
We need to do some research on that. Feel like that. I mean, that might be.
Yeah, this may be the original ladder match.
Well, the original ladder match, I think, was Calgary, but to your point, national TV.
Non national TV, right? Yeah.
I think when people just call it a regular ladder match, they often think of the WWF in '92 being the first one. But
right,
yeah, I tend to agree that it sounds like this was one of the first ones.
Right. Yeah. We Dave, if you'll put up the question from Professor Drew Landry that had asked us a question about the bench press.
And is this bench press warm up a shoot?
Yeah. Well, Professor, nothing was a shoot, dude.
No. By the way,
look at this. Oh, Jesus. Got to rebuild the fucking set, dude.
You better look out here, buddy. Yeah, Jim Cornette, you better get the check. We don't have a podium for the rest of the program. The rest of the weekend, it's history. I want this referee ever heard the word disqualification. Yeah, that's probably one of the few words he's heard of. I guess we might as well just tear everything up since we already got a good start. February 12th in Baltimore is going to be Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, Barry Windham, and Misty Blue. She's 130 pounds. Misty Blue, 127, I checked. Okay. Against me, the Midnight Express, and Dick Murdoch, and I'm checking Captain Dickie out. I want to see if he'll hit a woman. I want to see if he'll beat up a woman. His wife tells me he will, but I'm sure that he's enough and on enough.
Oh, God.
Yes, he will. Well, there's a look at a wild man and an equally wild man, I guess, in a way. Cornette's kind of upset, but it was destruction, Jim Ross. Don't worry, I'll pay for all of it. I'm getting used to it, being around him. Get that credit card out. Murdoch or cash would be better. Absolutely cash. People know who I am already. I don't need American Express. Dick Murdoch is one tough animal, no doubt about it. And Tony, we're going to be back with more exciting action here on the Superstar.
What a freaking segment that was, dude.
Oh my God.
That was outstanding. You know what? They're taking a break. Let's do 1-2, Tony.
Okay.
I'm going to hit it down at 38:42. There it is. I made it. We're going to take this time out, of course, because we're going to tell you about our friends over at Athletic Greens. Tony and I start our day every single day with a big old scoop of AG1. That's all it is. One scoop and a cup of water. And with that one scoop, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Everything you need to start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your focus, your recovery, your aging, all of the things. It's also lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto or paleo or vegan or dairy-free or gluten-free, has less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, and it still tastes good. It's going to support your better sleep quality and better recovery, better mental clarity, better alertness. Think of it as like your all-in-one nutritional insurance. And don't just take our word for it. Check out their reviews. They've got more than 7,000 5-star reviews. And Tony and I think it's time for you to reclaim your health. Arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/WHW. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/WHW to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And Tony, we're at 38:42. Let's get back with the program here in 3, 2, 1, play.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming Jim Cornette. You know, I feel naked out here, and I'm sure you do too without a podium, so I brought one with me. Misty Blue, you're going to feel naked because let me tell you something about Misty Blue. She's your kind of woman, just like she's Dusty Rhodes' kind of woman. She looks like she went to an axe fight and forgot to take her axe. Now, let me tell you something, Misty Blue. I know you're trying to embarrass me. I know Dusty Rhodes has got you trying to humiliate me, as well as having Dusty Rhodes and Barry Windham and Nikita Koloff get their hands on me inside that cage in February 12th in Baltimore. Well, let me tell you this, Misty Blue. I've been doing a little training myself. You see, I'm able to lift that podium. Ted Turner should be able to afford better. I've been doing training with Richard Simmons, who is a personal family friend of the Cornette. I've been doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now. And I always keep myself in prime physical condition. But I'm ready for this thing in Baltimore on the 12th. I know my man Sweet Stan will slap a woman if necessary. I know that my man Beautiful Bobby, if a woman tries to lay one finger on me, he'll tear loose on her. And I know, above all else, that Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch, who is not right in the head by any means, doesn't care whether it's a woman, a child, a grizzly bear, or 3 turtles, makes no difference. He will whomp them and he'll brainbuster them if I say so, because I'm footing the bill. So besides the fact you got the United States Tag Team Champions, you got a man in there who's a legendary figure in professional wrestling, and you got me, the greatest mind in the business. So Rhodes, Windham, and Koloff, you get ready to get hurt at Misty Blue. Don't you dare get in this man's way, or these men's way, or especially my way, because, darling, you'll be even uglier than you are right now, if that's possible. You told me about the kind of girls that...
Let me say one thing, Jimmy Cornette. It's a pleasure to be teamed with such a great array of talent. Nothing better than welcome Sweet Stan, and Beautiful Bobby, and you, Jim Cornette.
Thank you, Captain. Watch that breath.
Stay straight. Baltimore, Maryland. An 8-man cage match has been shaped. An 8-man, 4 men on this side. A hog-jawed Dusty Rhodes and his 2 partners, and some females and sticking her nose in where it don't belong. Now let me tell you something, Dusty. You better protect that woman, because I'm going to tell you, she's in where men belong, and I'm going to slap her around just like the Denver Broncos did the Washington Redskins, and then Albuquerque, Los Angeles, Sioux City, Iowa, and if any of you pop I am sick and tired of everybody running from this sports nurses. Okay.
I just want to say one more thing before we go. I want to give all you women bodybuilders out there and women wrestlers like Misty Blue some inspiration. Take a look at a real physique, brother. Ain't no girl in the world can withstand this one right here. February 12th, Baltimore, Misty Blue. I'll choke the life out of you.
Too much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the ring.
I mean, the thing is, David should have been totally healing on him after all he said, but it was so entertaining, he just couldn't help but grin and say too much.
Dick Murdoch, who was at the end of his career, right?
Yes.
You could tell he was having a lot of fun. Now,
Yes,
there's a lot of things they shouldn't have said that wouldn't hold up now.
Of course.
I mean, even Cornette said during the match when the podium was destroyed, he said he'll hit a woman, just ask his wife.
I want to see if he'll hit a woman. I wasn't sure, and I asked his wife, and she said he would.
Oh, man.
Yeah, crazy.
Just crazy stuff that you can get away with. Even made a reference to the Super Bowl between the Redskins and the Broncos, which, by the way, the Redskins just absolutely beat the hell out of them back when Washington had a football team.
They do not anymore.
They do not anymore.
No.
They will never. That franchise will never, ever go to a Super Bowl again. Now, I won't be here in 20 to 30 years, but I'll guarantee you after I'm gone, they will never go to a Super Bowl again.
Really?
Yeah, the days of Joe Gibbs and Joe
You don't think
Theismann.
they'll sell the franchise one day? You don't think Snyder will ever let loose?
Probably not.
If he lets loose, there's a chance.
Okay.
He's the problem, right?
Oh, of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is. I would. I'm not going to talk about it. Let's go. Somewhere else.
What?
It pisses off my. You know, that was my team when I was a kid. I mean, that
right.
was wow. And now it's.
Well, let me give you some news. The old handy dandy Wikipedia says that there was actually as we mentioned, the ladder matches started in Stampede in the 70s, 72.
Okay.
But in 1987, over on World of Sport, Kendo Nagasaki had one. So World of Sport was nationwide TV, just not our nation. So
World of Sport. Okay. All right.
Yeah. How about that? That's a nice way to close and go to commercial. Arn Anderson holding up the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be a treat. Arn and Tully with Mr. Crockett. Let's take a listen.
J.J. Dillon, their manager.
David Crockett, it seems like in these desperate times, each individual, and I'm talking about Luger, Sting, Barry Windham, Rhodes, the Garbage, and you, Rock, Ole Anderson, are reaching deep down in your gut, reaching in the back lobes of your mind, trying to figure out what can we do to finally, once and for all, stop the snowball effect. You see, Rock, you thought that the world went in when we booted you out. The Horsemen kept on rolling. Luger, you thought when you wanted to go to Hollywood and advertise Purina Dog Chow or be seen waxing up a Mercedes at Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive for an advertisement. You figured when we kicked you out, the Horsemen would fall from grace. Well, gentlemen, like we've always said, everybody can come out here and say they're the greatest, say they're the toughest, come out here with a lot of amateur credentials, or just claim that they're the greatest box office attraction that's ever been. But any athlete, and I'm talking about you people that's got your fanny in the kitchen chair right now, any true athlete can look at him, can look at me, can look at Ric Flair, and look at James J. Dillon, and honestly say we work harder, we're the best there is at one thing, and it's not making commercials. When we park these oats, my friends, technically, conditioning, and just overall knowledge, the reason we're the 3 world champions is simply we're the best there's ever been. We are the family, we are the unit. So Rock and the Omni, you want to put me in a cage? Everybody's always talking about how tough the Andersons were, how tough the Anderson family was. I'm the only Anderson left that means anything. Keep that in your mind, Rock.
Hey, listen to this, guys. What do you say that when Luger and Anderson fall just a little bit short in the Omni, we're not that bad, guys. What if they polish our Mercedes up and we'll give them a job? How does that sound? Sound good to you, Mr. Crockett?
Ladies and gentlemen, they say the Four Horsemen rule wrestling, and that they do. Let's go to the ring now for more action.
How about the little shout out for Purina Dog Chow? Where was Arn going with that? That was hilarious.
I have no idea. And this thing about polishing our Mercedes, there's something behind that.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know what it is. Little shooting going on there, and I'm trying to figure out what it was.
Purina Dog Chow.
Yeah, it just rolled right off his tongue, didn't it? Just slipped it right in there.
I wonder if they had a bet in the back. Like I've done that before. You know, whenever we're making sales calls, sometimes me and my guys we'll get tickled at like man breakfast or something when we all go to breakfast together, and we'll say, "Hey, today on the sales calls, let's see if we can find a way to work in Seahorse."
Right.
Man, I'm having so much money, you're going to be riding around like a damn seahorse. Like if you could figure that out, like what? But I feel like Arn does that sometimes. We're like, wait, what is that even? How?
I agree. Got to make sure Paul asks him on his podcast. And also, you know, you've done that to me on AEW. You've texted me the show.
See if you can work this.
See if you can work this in. And it all stopped when you said, "See if you can work penis bone in." And I don't think I can do that.
I think you can. By the way, I was really expecting when Darby Allin took a big bump and crashed and burned on the outside this week against Samoa Joe. I was really hoping, like, here's your chance, Tony. Boy, he really ain't shit there, Excalibur. You got to work in 8 shit sometimes.
I may be able to get that in during the
commercials.
During the commercials, and you'd have to listen to it on Fight but because again, you know, Tony's we get by with a lot of stuff during the commercials.
Yeah.
Because Tony really is not listening to us, and sometimes he'll run to the bathroom during the commercial breaks. But man,
by the way, that was the end of that old podium.
Yeah,
we saw Dick Murdoch tear it down. That was the end of the podium. He took pieces and beat his opponent with it. Next week, you have a new podium, and that's what it's going to look like right there.
Wow.
So the gray squares remain, but a new podium. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a longer podium, I think.
Everybody likes longer.
Everybody likes longer.
Shout out to everybody riding along with us. We often say when you sign up for patreon.com/WHW Monday or adfreeshows.com that you get our shows early and ad free. Well, now we're doing it with a live studio audience. So when you sign up, you get to ride along with us. We're recording here on a lovely Saturday morning, February the 4th. And we got a sold out crew here. And you guys over in the group chat, if you guys got any questions, fire them away and we'll hit you up. I know Professor Drew Landry's with us and Roger Fowler's with us, and shout out to Brooke McGraw and Eddie Prather. Who could forget Eddie's here? How about Lindsay's riding shotgun with us? Man, it's sold out, hanging from the rafters over there today. Shout out to Josh Fields and Coach Rosie and everybody who got up early on this Saturday to join us.
Yeah, Eddie and Brooke were with us last night when we did a watch along of Rampage. We do that on Friday nights. Here's Coach Keith is with us as well. Also, shut up and refill my popcorn. That's Nicho, I think, who's a brand new subscriber to us. He's here with us as well. So we got a lot of people that join us, and we appreciate you.
We did get a few questions over on Twitter. Drew Landry wants to know, how much taint whistle did Zbyszko have before appearing on this show?
How much taint whistle?
Yeah. You think he had enjoyed any taint whistle that day?
You know what? I was not really good at being able to measure taint whistles back then.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tony Schiavone's booster seat wants to know, hey, Tony, why is it every time I look at the back of a label for food, there's always a hot girl that walks by me? Have any advice for me?
Yeah, just go ahead and fat it up. Fuck her. She ain't going to do anything for you. Eat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep eating.
Have you ever read Gotham by Gaslight?
Yes.
Also, if you were a DC superhero, which DC superhero would you be? And if Hey, It's Conrad was a villain, which would he be?
He'd be King Croc.
I gotta look that up.
Okay, and
Croc.
I obviously would be Batman. But I watched. What was the question about Gaslight again? I can't. I watched the. They made that into an animated movie. Gotham by Gaslight.
Yes.
So I watched that. It's pretty cool. It's basically what it is a story about Batman if he was way back in the early 20th century. So
what I'm looking up, okay, I found King Croc. I don't really know what I'm looking at, but I found it.
Yeah.
A couple other questions here. Now that Chip has left the Braves, does that spark any interest in you to take that gig?
No.
Brad Stanton says, is the Midnight Express one of your favorites?
Yes, by far. Jim Cornette was wonderful to hold the microphone for.
Gavin wants to know, Bobby and Dennis or Bobby and Stan?
Bobby and Dennis. Sorry, it's what I remember first of all, right? Listen, 1985 was a magical year for me.
Yeah.
And when I'm always going to go back to 85 more than any other year. I know 86 was a great year because we started the Great American Bashes. We started touring. I started doing ring announcing around the country. It's the first time I really traveled, really outside of the Carolinas and Georgia and Virginia. So it was very, very special to me. But 85 was it because I got to meet new talent. We got to do a lot of different things. So I'll always go with Stan with Bobby and Dennis because they were the original ones back then. Why are we putting the Italian Stallion in a match against Gene Ligon on TV?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, by the way, Lanny Poffo passed away.
Oh yeah, shout out to Lanny, man, and his
Yeah.
whole family. What a great guy. We had him at Starcast 1.
Yeah.
Just a delight to see and spend some time with. Of course, he came out with Jay Lethal that night at All In, and just a really, really fun guy. And he was particularly fond of Cassio Kid's wife, Big Booty Judy.
Oh,
so it was a fun deal for our little circle.
By the way, as you probably know, if you've joined us on our recent bonus podcast, of course, Cassio was my co-host. You know that Big Booty Judy is training to be a pro wrestler. Let's go listen to the Nature Boy first.
Horsemen rule wrestling, and that they do. The World Tag Team Champions and the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair.
You know, pretty soon it's going to be spring and it's going to be house cleaning time. And it looks like Paul Jones and his powers of pain have taken care of this myth of the Road Warriors. And I think the World Tag Team Champions, Mr. Blanchard and Mr. Arn Anderson, have addressed the situation with his total package, Lex Luger, and his very small circle of friends, this Ole Anderson, Barry Windham, and whoever else wants to jump on the bandwagon. But there's this little matter of Sting that I think we need to discuss also. And Sting reminds me, champ, of, there was a dog in my neighborhood back in Atlantic City, New Jersey, when I was growing up, called Fido. And Fido, boy, he was bad. Everybody was afraid of Fido because you see what Fido used to do when the traffic went by, he would run out and he would chase cars and he would bark and he would snarl and he was real bad. And all of a sudden one day I said to myself, what's going to happen if Fido ever catches the car? And I think there's an analogy there with his Sting. He's gone out, he's tried to bust up the party, he's tried to embarrass you, but maybe it hasn't occurred to him what's going to happen when he catches up with you and you stop and turn around.
You know, James J., there are times in my life when I wonder, when will someone ever walk across that road and really bring the world champion the challenge that he's thrived on his entire career? In the case of Sting, all I got to do is look over here at all these people right here that are right here. They're here because they are intelligent wrestling fans. They have a choice to make. And they're here because they know that the NWA is number one. And they're here because they know the Four Horsemen, Arn, Tully, and Flair are number one. Now all we gotta do is talk to the promoters like yourself. You see, I'm the kind of guy, I don't want the easy money. I don't want to fight the bums. And Sting, you're a bum. You're a young, undertrained, overbearing punk that has run his mouth, made an attempt to be somewhere he'll never be. He made the mistake of laying his hands on a multi-million-dollar product. He made the mistake of looking in that silly way he can look at some of the most beautiful women that hover around the Nature Boy day in and day out. Yeah. He made the gesture. So you see, Sting, even though you're a bum, this is one fight I might take. I like the vacation in Hawaii. That's where Mr. Blanchard's going. I'd like to be in Aspen skiing, but somebody's got to be here to do the fight. So you see, Ric Flair, the world champion, the man, the franchise. And I'm talking about the Horsemen, the franchise will make it go round and round. And Sting, some way, somehow, because I'm a man with a great heart, I'm going to see fit, if JJ thinks the time is right, to give you that match. But pal, please don't make the mistake of pushing your luck again, because sooner or later, like JJ said, I'm going to holler at that chauffeur, stop this car. I'm going to jump out. I'm going to push the girls aside. I'm going to go, woo! And you, being a little dog, are going to run off into another yard because you really don't want to find out where you are. Do you think Luger does? Do you think Luger wants to walk that aisle? He can do this, and he can do this, but can he beat the best there is? Ole Anderson, a man I've grown to detest, some that are best of all. I am. The Horsemen are the consummate wrestlers in this sport. The marquee says wrestling, not Hollywood, not cartoons, not gymnasium physique contests, not pretty faces, which all of us happen to have, but it says wrestling. And if you want to find out where you rank in the world of wrestling, come to the National Wrestling Alliance, come to the Four Horsemen, because after all, we have the genius, the mind, and David Crockett. Sometimes near the dissatisfaction, unfortunately, we have the 3 world championships.
The World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair and J.J. Dillon. Listen, coming up next, you're going to see Lex Luger and Barry Windham.
So we'll talk about their tag team, Lex Luger and Barry Windham, in just a moment. But, Tony, we're going to go ahead and take a break. I'll do it at 1 hour and 4 seconds. There it is. And we're taking this break to talk about our friends at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. It really is the best seafood here in America. Tony and I feel strongly it's their favorite restaurant in America. And it's also the place to be if you're a wrestling fan. They're going to stream all the different pay-per-view events and have watch-alongs and parties. And it is the place to be if you want to go watch sports or football or take your family out to dinner for a nice celebration. And I know what you're thinking. Dude, I live in Alabama. I don't live in Maryland. But thanks for the pro tip. No, here's the real pro tip. Jimmy'sFamousSeafood.com is now shipping food nationwide. You can get free 2-day nationwide shipping on orders over $125 when you use the promo code. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
WHW.
Wow. How about that?
What happened when you had the best crab cakes in the world? What happened when you tried Jim Ross's favorite soups? What happened when you had Corey's favorite chowders? What happened when you had Flair's favorite oysters? What happened when you had Cassio's favorite signature steaks? They got the desserts, they got the gluten-free items, and they make a great gift. You can create your very own gift box or choose from one of their existing ones. These guys are the real deal, been in business for more than 4 decades, friends of the show, big-time wrestling fans, and really the best seafood in the world. Check it out, Jimmy'sFamousSeafood.com. Free shipping nationwide when you order $125. Just use our promo code WHW. Can't say enough nice things about Jimmy's, can we, Tony?
It's the best. And listen, really, take it from me because I've traveled the world. Aha. I've eaten at many different restaurants around the world. It's the best one. The best one.
Jimmy'sFamousSeafood.com. Use that promo code WHW. And Tony, let's get back to the program. We're at 1 hour and 4 seconds. In 3, 2, 1, play.
One awesome combination. Barry Windham, Lex Luger against Tony Suber and Bob Riddle.
Bob Riddle. Bob Riddle.
Bob Riddle. I'm a
Bob.
youngster.
Talk to me a little bit about this pairing here of Barry Windham and Lex Luger. Did they like being a tag team, or do you think they both preferred being single stars?
I think they like being single stars. I think most wrestlers like being single stars, except like the Midnight Express or the Rock and Roll Express, Tully and Arn. I think they like being a tag team. I think most guys would rather be single stars. You know, I think it's well documented that Vince did not like tag teams.
Right.
As well as he liked singles competitors. And if you think about it, though, some of the great matches you've ever seen have been tag matches.
Right.
Because of the drama of one guy selling and trying to make it into the corner to make the tag, the hot tag, and have the big comeback. It's changed a great deal. I mean, JR will be the first to tell you that, man, there's a 5 count. There are too many people in the ring. What's going on here, right? That we kind of bend the rules that
maybe a little too much.
Yeah, right. I really think that that Lucha Libre had a lot to do with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody joining us this morning over on adfreeshows.com and WHW Patreon. By the way, if you want to check out the Patreon for WHW and do these Rampage watch-alongs every week with Tony, that's easy. It's patreon.com/WHW Monday. But we got plenty of questions here waiting in the queue here. Let's do a few here. Doug Ritter wants to know, Tony, any good Lanny Poffo stories?
Well, the famous Lanny Poffo story was that Lanny used to be able to, he had, I don't know if he had a long enough penis or he could just bend over. He used to be able to.
You never saw it go in?
I never saw it go in, but I do remember, I think this was back in the WWE day, that WWF day, that 1 year, right?
Yeah.
You know, Bret Hart was a great cartoonist.
Right.
He could draw.
Yes.
And he drew on a piece of paper a picture of Lanny Poffo doing it to himself.
Right.
And he put it up. And I looked at Lanny, and everybody was laughing. Lanny looked at me, and Lanny says, that is a rumor that is absolutely unfounded. And he smiled and walked away.
Yeah.
And when he smiled and walked away, I went, oh, my God. So.
If you could do that, would you leave the house?
You mean like, no, I wouldn't leave the house. Why do I leave this wonderful bat cave I got here? My great dog.
I'm just saying you would never even, you'd be like, fuck AEW. I'm going to say I'm going to blow myself.
That does not drive a 65-year-old man anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
What's motivating to a 65-year-old now?
Paychecks.
Oh, okay. So if you got paid to suck yourself off, you did that. What do you think? What do you think the going rate is for a beach?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't priced them in a while.
Yeah.
Let
me look online.
Google it.
All right, I will.
Twin Towers or whatever you want to call it. Everybody had better take a good look because we are something to be reckoned with. Ric Flair, all the horsemen, Mike Rotundo, everybody. Pay attention because this right here is serious business, boys. You know, David, you hear Flair out here, you hear Blanchard, you hear Anderson, they call themselves the franchise. But you see, every great franchise, it comes to an end. It can't last forever. You see, this is the NWA of the future. This is the team to take it all. We're talking about major titles, major money. We're going after everything that this sport has to offer, and there will be no stopping us. Because you see, Flair, it all comes down to this. Give it to him. You can't be on top forever. We are coming after you like it's never been come after before. Because you see this. You talk about posing, get a good shot of this. This baby is for real, 100% pure. This baby is for real, Flair. But you see, it's not just for show, it's full go, 100% all the time, baby. And this team right here, it doesn't matter. Barry Windham's made a commitment to me. I made a commitment to him. We're going for it. No more looking over our shoulders for who's running down the aisle because we're watching each other's backs. And if it's a Barry, if it's six man, we got Dusty Rhodes. We got Ole Anderson. It doesn't matter. We're coming after you. We're putting tarnishes in the lost column and your great reputations. This is where it's at, baby. That's right. Luger and Wyndham. Mark it down. It's going to happen. You know, David, just one thing I'd like to bring up. A lot of people ask me about it. I have to face Mike Rotundo, a very close friend of mine, in Atlanta on the 14th of this month. And I'll tell you what, Michael, between you and me, one of us is going to walk out there a winner. I don't plan on it being me, the loser. And also, David, one more thing. In Atlanta, in the cage, remember this, Tully, and remember this, Arn. When that door shuts, baby, you belong to me and Arn Anderson.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Hey, listen, coming up next, the Road Warriors will be with us.
Did he just say you belong to me and Arn Anderson?
Yeah, he completely screwed that one up. It's me and Ole Anderson. So,
by the way, shout out to Barry for constantly referring to his brother-in-law there. Of course, Mike Rotundo married his sister in '84.
Yes.
So they've been family members at this point for a handful of years.
They
And
had
now we've got Paul Ellering with the Road Warriors.
They had a son named Wyndham.
I wonder what he's up to these days.
Wow.
He's done some things.
Yeah.
Not who, but what we were dealing with and taking the appropriate steps. For that, I blame myself. Now, it's obvious to everybody that was there that when the bar was loaded up to 600 pounds and the animal was ready to bench press it, Paul Jones had no confidence in his men whatsoever to do that weight, and they attacked us. It's obvious. Now, Animal's had surgery. He had a fractured orbital rim of the eye. And if desire meant anything at all, he would be here right now. So remember this, Paul Jones, he can't be here now. But on the 13th in Philadelphia, I give you my personal guarantee, he will be there. And we will defend our six-man titles with Dusty Rhodes, our partner. And as for your ladder matches, $50,000 is a lot of money. We know that. But it's not worth the price of a man's eyesight. So in the past, Paul Jones, we've played the game according to your rules. Now we're going to change the rules. And the new game is called Revenge. Now I think Al Hawk has something to scream about.
War-hearted barbarian! When you hurt my partner, you hurt me. He's a piece of me, and I'm a piece of him. And he's been there whenever I needed him. And now I'm going to be there when he needs me. The biggest damn mistake you ever made in your life was not just attacking us from behind in Greensboro when the chips were down for you because we were going to press 600 pounds and you can't. The biggest mistake you made is you didn't finish us off. You didn't kill us. You should have killed us because when you deal with the Road Warriors and you don't finish the job, that means you leave an opening for us to finish it. Oh, God only knows how much hate I have in this heart of mine. And God only knows the pain you have to go through because of it. The biggest mistake anybody can ever make is messing with us and not finishing the job. And I got some bad feelings. I got some real bad feelings. I got some feelings that when all this is done, that the Legion of Doom will be where when ours is be, on top. I got a feeling we're going to do some real bad things to you. And when we're done, the things we've done will be so bad, heaven won't take us. And hell will be afraid we're going to take over. Because we still snack on danger. And we'll always dine on death. And we'll be dining on you and good. I wouldn't want to be you at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the ring.
Boy, heaven wouldn't take us is a hell of a line. That was good stuff, man. You didn't like it?
Yeah, it was good.
But
no, I was just looking at something here, and I'm not going to go too much into this, but you know there are two websites out there, one called bestblowjobs.us.
Oh God.
and learnblowjob.com. What's wrong with people these days?
What? What did you Google, Tony?
I do going rate for a blowjob. One says a hooker charged me $300. One guy says, "What does a $150 prostitute look like?" Somebody really asked that question. Oh God!
Let me give you a spoiler. Whoever that was, not good. Not good.
Not good.
Tony, you know that when all this comes crashing down, the FBI is going to come look at your like search history,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be you're going to have some splaining to do, bud.
Wow, if the FBI is going to come looking for my search history, they have run out of things to do. Do something to protect this fucking country. Jesus Christ,
buddy. Which man, I'm sort of flabbergasted. Would you pay $300 for a beach?
Me? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't pay $300 for a dinner. We got some other questions here. we can throw up here.
Yeah, we got plenty of questions.
Okay.
Eddie Praker wants to know, Tony, do you think Dick Murdoch is one of the most underrated promo guys of all time? And how much do you think Dick Murdoch would pay for a beach?
I don't know. I don't know how much he would have paid for a beach, but no, he's not one of the most underrated promo guys of all time. Not at all.
What's the most you'd pay for a beach, you think?
I should have never brought this up because you're not going to let this go.
Well, I never even thought about paying for beaches, but now I'm like, I mean, we said it kind of jokingly, but you said $300 and it blew my skirt up. Like, what? People are paying $300 for that?
Yeah, God.
Can't they phone a friend? Hey, I got something I need you to take care of for me.
No,
that's the code. That's how you sweet talk them.
All right, let's do another question.
Dave, throw us another one up there. This one comes to us from Professor Drew Landry. Tony, do you know why Dennis left the Midnights? Is it because he overpaid for a beach?
It's not. I don't know the real reason, but I know he was pretty upset about how he was getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of.
He needed more beach money. I get it.
Yeah, I guess he did. You know,
we've all been there. We got another one here. This is from Nate Poole. Tony, who's winning the Super Bowl? He says next week, but it's this week, Nate.
Okay.
The Super Bowl is this week. And of course, we all know it's going to be the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes taking on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. What do you say?
I say, I'm not so sure right now, but send that question to my email. Got a couple of emails, Nate. Send that question to idon'tgiveafuck@gmail.com.
Well, I know who's got a number on the game.
In the dump, and we were looking for the rats. And a lot of them look like the Wyndhams, the Rhodes, and the Ketas. And they were hiding from us because everybody hides from them. You're right, Michael. We found those rats. And when I turned it over, we stopped those rats. We stopped them. We stopped them right there.
Just like Syracuse stabbed Michigan in basketball.
No, what are you talking about? Hey, cool it. Cool it. Hey, cool it. Dark face, pinhead, cool it. Let me tell you this. I heard somebody that you called a twin tower out here talking about being a franchise. They're talking about what they're going to do in the future. They're talking about this and they're talking about future. You haven't heard anybody. I'm going to wrestle next. And right now on this program, I'm going to hurt somebody real bad because when the varsity club, these men are their own masters, controlled by no one. Controlled by no one. But I'm going to make it real clear. Everybody that's out there talking, even some of my illustrious colleagues that are talking about gut feelings and reaching down in the boots and evil masters and twin towers. Well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to hurt people. The varsity club is one thing. The difference between the varsity club and anybody else is evil lives here and we're going to destroy. When we get through, it's scorched earth and nothing else will grow.
We're going to find the rats, Tony. What a segment that was. You want to talk about tongue-in-cheek guys trying to pop the boys. How fun was that?
Yeah. Sully was good at that too, man. Look at this.
Oh my God. He just nailed him with a chair for real.
He is legitimately beating the fuck out of this guy.
Yes.
Kevin did that. Kevin beat up people because he could. And here he goes again. These are live rounds this kid is getting.
Yes.
Yeah. Tree of Woe.
This is not going to work out for him.
Tree of Woe.
Oh, that wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
Dustin Joseph wants to know, Tony, I was at Dynamite in Lexington last week. How'd you like Rupp Arena?
Well, we had a great time. We had a great crowd. Thanks for asking that, but it wasn't my first time there because obviously 11 years with Georgia basketball, we played a lot of games in Rupp Arena. Have you ever seen a basketball game in Rupp Arena?
I have not. No,
okay.
no.
It's a very unique experience. And I'm look at this, Teddy Long covering up this kid.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah. I always got the feeling in Rupp Arena, they love their basketball, I get it, but it was always like, it always looked to me like, and I know they've changed the rules a little bit, they would get these one and done kids.
Right.
It always looked like, and they were like the top stars from all the high schools around. They always got the best players.
Right.
It always seemed like a rented team to me.
A rented team.
A rented team. Going to bring them in for 1 year, put a Kentucky jersey on them to continue the Kentucky legacy. And these kids had absolutely no, well, here's Sting again. Hang on.
Yeah, we need to track this.
Yeah.
Nothing more
Different
than the
paint.
party crasher himself. And I'm ready to crash some more parties. You know, I embarrass Flair like I always say now. And I can't think of a better thing to do right now than to party some more. So, Flair, I know you're in the building somewhere, so let me show you what a real party is all about. Oh! Come on, show me. See what you got, Ricky, baby. Get in my face.
I guess he doesn't want to come.
He's
not
here
here.
somewhere.
You walk around. I guess Rick you think maybe he's afraid of you?
Oh, I can imagine he's probably doing just a little bit of sweating back there. He'll probably end up same old story, same old.
Tired of coming out here. I don't have any champagne in my hand. There's no. You got a problem, pal, and what we have, and this phrase is overused, you've got a failure to understand, my friend, that you don't walk out here in front of the whole world. You keep your mouth shut, Punch. You don't walk out here in front of the whole world and for 1 second try and intimate that you think you're ready for me. I will make that decision. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm Ric Flair. I'm the world champion. You are pumped up. Nothing happening. Overstuffed punk from the gym that doesn't know what it is. Don't wear alligator shoes. You understand? Huh? To wear custom-made clothes. To ride limousines. To have the whole world at your feet because you're the best there is. So you don't ever make a mistake of walking out here and implying that you can be where I've been for 5 years. I'm the world champion, brother, and I'm addressing you as a punk whose mother and father didn't have the brains or the knowledge or the class in this life to even give you a name. Sting, what kind of a name?
They're in the ring now. It's broken down.
Wow. How about this? Big angle, buddy.
Big angle.
Well, Jim Ross, David Crockett, pandemonium has broken loose here.
Sting has just press slammed Flair. The crowd is going bananas.
Flair insulted the Sting, let him have with everything in the book, and finally Sting could not handle it any longer.
Dude, this is a hot angle. You're making the guy on TV.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing. Right. You are right, sir.
And here come the Horsemen. At the summons of J.J. Dillon, the Horsemen are out. We're talking about Anderson, Blanchard, Flair, and now Wyndham, Luger. They're all in there. And it is pandemonium.
Look at the crowd.
In the ring, going at it.
Wow.
The three young lions of professional wrestling, Luger, Wyndham, and Sting against the Four Horsemen. Flair over the top. The Horsemen are gone. They're out of the ring. The heavyweight champion of the world is living at Sting. Flair is beside himself here. He went with a chair. The chair taken away from him. The Horseman held at bay.
This is a very volatile situation. Wyndham, Luger, and Sting and the Four Horsemen. The blood is boiling hot right here.
We gotta go. Don't dare go away.
Hey, that was a great segment right there. They're going to take a break. I think we should too. I'm going to
Okay.
call it here at 121.53. There it is. Of course, I want to take this time out to remind everybody that in my real life, I love people helping people save money over at savewithconrad.com. And listen, if you're looking for a lower monthly payment, man, this is for you. We've routinely helped our What Happened When listeners for more than 6 years now get out of debt faster and do it with cheaper monthly payments. Let me explain. Let's say you've got a 30-year loan. Let's say you've also got a couple of car payments. Maybe you got some credit cards. Maybe you feel like you've been stuck making the minimum payment on those credit cards. Let me ask you a question. What's your interest rate on those cards? What is it? 18, 28%? Whatever it is, you know it's too much. What I'm going to suggest is let's throw it all into one new monthly payment and take you from a 30-year loan down to just 15 years. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, I checked into a 15-year loan when I bought my house, and I can't afford that monthly payment. You could if you didn't have any car payments. You could if you didn't have any credit card debt. You see, once you owe this money, it's up to you how you pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to put all that debt on the cheapest interest rate you could get? Doesn't it make sense to get out of debt as fast as you can? Doesn't it make sense to pay your house off as early as you can? I'm 41 years old, and if I signed up for a 30-year loan today, I would pay it off when I'm 71 years old. Guys, that's not the best plan. The best plan is to get out of debt, and Save with Conrad can help you do that. We routinely help our listeners save 5, 6, 7, even $800 a month and cut years off their loan at the same time. One other little fun fact I want to throw your way. The interest you pay on credit cards, not tax deductible. The interest you pay on your house is tax deductible. So if you can get a lower monthly payment, if you can pay your house off faster, if you can get a greater tax deduction, oh, and did I mention this? You can even skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. No house payments for 2 months. Pocket your single biggest bill for 2 months. It's going to make life a little easier. We can do it all for you right now at savewithconrad.com. And maybe you're still in an apartment. Maybe you're thinking, I sure would like to buy a house, but I don't think I can. Yes, you can. We can show you how to buy a house with no money down using a USDA loan. Or if you're a veteran, it doesn't get any better than a VA loan. But maybe if you want to live in the city and you're not a veteran, do you know you can buy a house with as little as 3.5% down? FHA can do it for you, and we can show you the way. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket. We can help you even if you've had a bankruptcy a few years ago. And no, this isn't a subprime loan. We're using the government's money. We're going through FHA. And all you need is like a 620 credit score. And if you're not sure where your score is, or you think, well, I don't have that. Do you want it? Because we can show you how to do it. Just last month, we helped a listener go ahead and raise their credit score over 110 points. Now, we can't do it for you. We can give you the advice and the pro tips and tricks that we've learned. We don't say no. We say not yet, but here's how. It all happens at savewithconrad.com. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender, savewithconrad.com, or shoot me an email, conrad@savewithconrad.com, or kick it old school. Give me a shout, 888-425-0105, savewithconrad.com. Without further ado, Tony, let's get back to it, man. It's 121.53 and 3, 2, 1, play. Tony, that was a big time angle right there. I can't wait to see how you guys put a button on it.
Here, I got a nice little end table at home. Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes and fantasize. Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan, the Midnight Express.
Man, all action. Not even a reset, just right into a tag team match. Mike Jackson going to be on the other side of the Midnight Express, but that's the biggest breakout moment in Sting's career at this point.
This we jumped on a pretty good show here. When you think about Dick Murdoch destroying the podium and the angle with Sting and Flair, and it was good. Unfortunately, having the Italian Stallion wrestle in it kind of messed it up, but other than that, it's been a pretty damn good show. We have any more questions here? Because we're getting near the end of our show, we could
absolutely. Let's do a few here. Brooke wants to know, who's the bigger idiot, Adam DeMoy or Patrick McGaw?
Well, Brooke, unfortunately for you, well, no, it's Adam DeMoy. He's the biggest idiot ever.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brooke knows that she married an idiot as well. But I gotta give Patrick McGaw a little bit of credit here. He has really become one of Lois's favorites. She really likes Patrick, and Patrick did run on a 4-lane highway through traffic to pick up my backpack that fell out of the back of the car back during Thanksgiving weekend. So got to give him props to that. But listen, any scenario, any place, anywhere around the world, you're not going to get a bigger shithead, prick, motherfucking no good cocksucker than Adam DeMoy. That's it. And I probably should quell the way I cuss. Mark Nelson got on our Rampage watch along last night. Mark from out in California said, "Tony, you're cussing too much." He said, I put on the podcast at work last week, and in the first 1 minute, you had said like 30 cuss words. So maybe I shouldn't use bad language anymore. I don't know. What do you think?
I think he should fuck off. Professor Drew, listen, it was well timed. You know, you teed me up there. Drew Landry wants to know, would Sullivan do that to Haku? Of course, he asked that question when we saw Sullivan just laying a beat down. I don't think he would have tried that shit on Haku.
No. Unless, you know what? Haku obviously is in his 60s now, maybe a little bit older. He wouldn't do it today to him.
Yeah.
A 65-year-old Haku can still beat up most people.
Denovius Mack wants to know, Tony, I call you the best announcer I've ever heard or saw, but I want to know, in what era do you believe you did your best work?
Denovius, hey brother, good seeing you and talking to you. I think it was during this era, during the 80s.
I would agree. You were on fire here, and so is Jim Cornette. I think we're going to hear a little promo to close us down here.
I know you got a slow-mo. Why don't we go ahead and look at that? Why don't we look at slow-mo and you go listen with David Crockett about the Baltimore. Do I have to visit with David Crockett? Yeah, sure do, Jim. Let's take a look at the double goozle. Yeah, double goozle. The man with a body like a pear. And we're going to hear from him in just a few moments. Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express, along with Dick Murdoch. They're all with David Crockett.
Misty Blue can beat him, I know.
Can you imagine him in wrestling tights? Yeah, I'll tell you what, I can imagine you, David Crockett, the king of nepotism. I can imagine you dress some pretty funny ways. You probably do that in your private life. Let me just say this. Misty Blue, February the 12th in Baltimore. Brother, I got a surprise for you because I've never been in better shape in my entire life. And as far as that goes, the Midnight Express and Dick Murdoch could go to New York City, ride the subway, and ask Bernard Getz for $1 and get away with it, brother, because that's how bad they are. And I'm going to tell you something else. My man, Captain, no, you're here now. Captain, I want to tell you, I'm putting a lot of faith in you. After they get finished with Dusty and Nikita and Wyndham, you got the job of teaching that Misty Blue a lesson or two.
You know, David Crockett, let's get one thing straight. First of all, I don't get out here and I don't insult anybody, so I don't especially appreciate Jim Ross, Tony Zani sitting down and said I'm a little bit strange or a little bit ill. And come Baltimore, I'm going to definitely get rid of Misty Blue. And first of all, me and my boys here are going to go celebrate. Yeah.
Well, that'll do it, man. Quite an eventful episode of World Championship Wrestling. The set was destroyed. We made Sting. We got some hilarious Jim Cornette promos along the way. This was a fun show, man.
It was great. It was, you know, it's one of those shows where you look back on it and you think, man, we did a lot of great things. Why in the world did we close up shop? Right?
Maybe we were overspending.
Yeah, well, that was the reason. That's unfortunate.
We, if you just can't get enough of Crockett, I want to recommend over at adfreeshows.com a brand new program called The Book. January launched last month, where we went month by month and day by day and show by show with David Crockett through January of 85. February, we will be hitting up February of 85, and we just recorded March of 85. It's all happening over on adfreeshows.com. We also recently sat down with another name from back in the day, Mr. Gary Juster. You've probably heard us talk about him a lot here on the program. We actually caught up with him and did a sit-down interview over at adfreeshows.com. We also caught up with Mr. Earl Hebner. If you haven't checked that out already, we did a live watch-along this past Sunday on the 5th and watched maybe the most famous WWF angle of all time, the evil heel twin referee angle. And it all happened at adfreeshows.com. By the way, we'd love to have your interaction on social. The easiest way to support the show is to follow us on WHW Monday on Twitter and Facebook, WHW Podcast on Instagram. And of course, the best way to support our show is to like us and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It's WHW on YouTube.com. If you do one thing for us this week, we'd really appreciate it if you go hit the subscribe button, WHW on YouTube.com. You've seen in the lower third, if you watched along today, we plugged LoisRules.com because that's where you can get all of your Tony Schiavone swag and merch. You can even get a bug tattoo. You can get the new Taint Whistle shirt. He got that dog in him. You simple bitch. Big motherfucker. I said to myself, self. And of course, the now infamous Lois Rules shirt that you see at almost every wrestling show on television. LoisRules.com is where you can get it. And don't forget, when you buy a shirt at LoisRules.com, you get a shirt. And Tony, right now, it looks like it's about that time.
We're coming to you live at the Conrad for the WHW bench press contest between Dave Silva and Cassio Kid. Both men dressed in their T-shirts that said "Big Motherfucker" and shorts. First up, Cassio. He will attempt to bench 50 pounds. He did it. He did. Wait. A turd just slid out of Cassio's shorts. Yes, a turd, also known around these parts as Adam DeMoy. So we'll let that turd just stay there, have Corey Ryan Forrester come and clean it up because, like a turd, his comedy is the shits. Okay, next is Dave Silva. He'll try to bench press and win it by benching 52 pounds. And Dave Silva, yes, Dave wins it, 52 pounds, and he has let a turd slip out as well. Wait a minute. It's obvious from the size of that turd that Dave Silva, the winner of our bench press contest here on WHW, was the person who shit on the bathroom floor at the Conrad. That solves the mystery. The winner and guilty, Dave Silva, El Muy Grande Turdo. We're desperately out of time. See you next week on What Happened When. We come to you Wednesdays on Westwood One, but Mondays we come to you ad-free and only on
Patreon, patreon.com/WHW Monday, and of course, adfreeshows.com. Can't believe this is real, but Wooo Wings, your very own virtual restaurant concept, is now open, and fans can enjoy the legendary flavors and world championship wings by ordering with their Uber Eats or Postmates app. Wooo Wings is now open in Nashville, San Antonio, Jacksonville, as well as Huntsville and Tuscaloosa, right here in Alabama. Many more locations coming soon. As a virtual restaurant, Wooo Wings is looking to partner with existing restaurants in major metro areas. Tell your favorite sports bar or local restaurant you want Wooo Wings in your town, and to visit RicFlairWings.com for more information on how to become a partner. But if you're in Nashville, San Antonio, Jacksonville, Huntsville, or Tuscaloosa, hop on your Uber Eats or Postmates app and look for Wooo Wings and try the only chicken wings worthy of carrying the name of the 16-time world heavyweight champion, Wooo Wings. Be sure to check out RicFlairWings.com to become a partner.